Hello, good afternoon. My name is Filomena Violano. Welcome to Diaspora TV Switzerland. It's a great pleasure to have here with me in the studio Mr. Mark Bamidele. Thanks all for coming, Mark.
Thank you so much, Filomena, for inviting me to your show. It's such a great pleasure to be with you right on the show tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, you really, for coming. So, Mark is a telecommunication and sound engineer. He does many things. He's a movie maker, and he's interested also in topics and deals himself with topics about integration. And he works together with a lot of institutions, for example, for Caritas Schweiz, Federal Office of Public Health, State Secretariat for Immigration, and AIDS Hilfe Schweiz. So actually, why are we here today?
Well, actually, when I got the invitation that it's very important for us to talk about the issues concerning the upcoming votation on the 4th of March, which everybody knows in Switzerland is a very, very important topic. So I said, okay, sometimes we need to tell the people what this votation is all about. They need to know in details. And most important, people need to vote, or people need to tell people who could vote to vote. So this is why it's important that we also tell our community what exactly is Swiss direct democracy.
Could you explain me what actually the voting is about? Because we have to let people know at home what the voting is about. Okay. Can you explain?
On the 4th of March 2018, in Switzerland, we have two national votations. One is on the BILAG. So there's an initiative that said that people should stop paying BILAG. What exactly is BILAG? BILAG is the radio and TV fee that we are paying so that we can receive public broadcasting in our homes.
Thanks a lot for this explanation.
And the second one that we have is on the federal income tax. So basically, the most popular one is the BILAG. But the most important one, economically, is the federal income tax, because this is like the 2/3 of the total income. In the federal income tax, what are we voting? We are not voting to increase the price or to reduce it. We are just voting to extend the contract, so that because this federal income tax will expire soon. So when it was introduced, there's an obligation that the people must come again to vote, to say, okay, we want to extend it, or we want to reduce it, or we want to eradicate it. But this time around, it's just about, should we extend it for another 10 or 15 years? So they settled that it will be extended to another 15 years.
Thanks a lot for explanation. Can I ask you how foreigners are involved in this voting process? Can they vote, or
okay?
Can you explain it, please?
In this very voting process, it depends on who consider himself as a foreigner. The most important is that if you still think you're a foreigner, but in as much as you have a Swiss passport, so you can vote. So as a foreigner, some people, they have a Swiss passport, they say, look, I have a Swiss passport, but I'm a foreigner. But if you have a Swiss passport, you can vote. On a national votation, only people with Swiss passport can vote. But you have issues that concern cantons, that sometimes they allow foreigners to vote. This is mostly common in the French part of Switzerland, where foreigners with foreigner resident permit are allowed to vote, but never on a national level. So these are the category of foreigners that can vote.
But it was important to pursue this question because, you know, it's important that people at home knows how it really works. Can I pose you another question? For example, you know, I mean, you are a media owner. How does a mass media can influence the public opinion? How does it work? Do you really think that media can manipulate the public opinion? What do you think about it? What can you say about it?
Okay, let me put it this way. I will go for the first one that said influence, rather than saying that they manipulate, because we are in a society. Okay, let's put it like this. Let's specify Switzerland, because maybe in some third world country or developing country where people are not so educated, It's easier for you to tell them this is white, they believe. But in Switzerland, basically everyone has their mind. What is the media doing? They help you to give you the both side. And this is exactly one of the importance of BILAG. Yeah. Because BILAG helps the Swiss televisions to give equal justice. Because when you have a BILAG as a TV station, it means that you have what they call concession. These concessions comes with a lot of strict rules. You are not allowed to display a label design. You can't put a bottle water with a company name on the table. This is how the Swiss make sure that there is fairness in the media. So if you remove this BILAG, then this manipulation comes in. Then it's easier now for media to manipulate because there is no regulation. They will tell you we are private. You are not funding us. We are funding ourselves. So whatever we talk is what we mean. Then nobody has to come to say, look, your service is not fair. It's only one-sided. So this is what you see in some countries like America, where partisan journalism is in vogue because everybody wants to win money. One TV station is in one side of one politician, another TV station is on the other side. So they leave the populace in the middle and they are lost. They have no opinion because if you're a fan of this TV, they are feeding you with things they think is good for their people paying them money and the other one. But this is what the Swiss media don't do. Because if you have a concession, they make sure they check that you have to. I even remember when I was in a TV station in Biel in Telebilang when I was doing my TV technology project with study with them. We had to keep the media for 10 years because they could call back and say somebody complained. We are backing every media we are doing. We have to back it up, not even in a hard disk or on a tape, and it has to be there for 10 good years. But these are the part of the regulations that they are putting in place.
Thanks a lot for answering this question. There's something that I wanted to ask you actually, because some time ago, I remember you made very good predictions. Some time ago there was something about the mass migration quota. Migration, February 2014, and actually you were right. You know, what are you? Are you some voodoo warrior player? How does it work? How was it possible to foresee all this? Can you explain that? Because you were definitely right.
Okay, this is how it works. First of all, this initiative of February 9 of 2014 was an initiative of a political party, which is the SVP. And sometimes, you know, we from the migrant background, we think the SVP, they are anti-migrant. And when you sit with the migrant, they say, no, this is not going to pass. But if you look at this very one we are having, it's also from the same. SVP, they are the main supporter of this. But then I knew they're going to win because if you look, the Swiss, when they are ranking them, they say, what is the most important for you as a Swiss? They tell you my health and job security. Now they told them, people are coming from all over Europe to take your job. We want to stop this. I said, for sure, this is the kind of thing Swiss people will support. So it's not about voodoo, it's about when there's an initiative or a referendum, I try to study it deeply. And we print out everything. And we analyze it. And we go around and say, okay, what is the statistics saying? Is there any survey? Then you compare from the survey. Then it's easier for you to see. And again, there are also another factor. One factor that is very important in predicting the outcome of an election is that, first of all, you need to ask yourself, this thing, are you reversing or you are introducing? So, if you look at BILAG, people accepted to pay. It's not like it was forced on them. It's not the same with the cross-border mass migration. The mass migration was an agreement we reached with the European Union as part of a bilateral agreement between Switzerland and so it's not really that they said we want this. It was like an external force said you need to put this place. You need to put this in place so that you can be who you are as a partner of the European Union. Then the people now had to ask. They say they don't want this anymore. So you see, it's easier for them to say, we never even asked for it. It was the European Union idea. But this is not the same with BILAG. The BILAG was accepted by the people to say, okay, we will pay it. So now they are paying it. So to remove it, I think a lot of people, with the way the argument is going, I think BILAG is still on. So I think the BILAG will still be there for a very long time.
So taking into account what you have said, what are your predictions
my
for the new
prediction,
voting of the 4th of March?
The election,
what do you think? What will happen?
BILAG will be victory. The most people will vote no. It could be close because a lot of people from the young ones, they say, look, I'm looking at Netflix, I don't care about the Swiss television.
Yeah.
Many migrants as well, they say, look, the Swiss media anyway, what are they showing about us that is of our interest? Why should I keep paying only for some people to be beneficiary of it? But then, most of these migrants don't have the voting rights. This is one.
Yeah.
And two, those who have the voting right don't even like to vote. Not all, but some of them don't like to vote.
According to this topic, can you explain our audience why are you supporting BILAG in that case? Is it correct?
In that argument, I'm supporting BILAG because I want a society where the media is not controlled but monitored. It's two different things. A controlled media is no BILAG. When you take it out, then some people control it with their money. A monitored BILAG, a monitored media means you have institutions that check and balance that everybody's interest is well fulfilled. But there's also one thing I like about this initiative. Is the fact that whenever there's an initiative, even if the people who initiated to eradicate the no BILAG lost, but there's still going to be a change because there will be a debate. It means people are not happy. Plus minus their percentage. It means there is a number of people enough because before this initiative could go into a votation, this guy succeeded in collecting 100,000 signatures. That's what the laws requires, that you need to get 100,000 signatures.
Yeah.
And all these are all verified to be true within 18 months. So it means that a lot of people are also not happy about that. So then the Swiss television or the Swiss media as an institution should now go back to their drawbox and start to look, what are we not doing right? It means something is wrong somewhere. This I can't deny. Then they need to fix it. So if eventually BILAG is still alive, which I'm very, very optimistic, the people will still let BILAG stay, then the institution should go in to the draw board and try to check and balance also the interest of the people, not just the content of the media.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for all this explanation you give to us, because there are many people here in Switzerland. I'm actually one of those people didn't know nothing about those topics, and there are also Swiss people, can we say that don't know actually how it works. So thanks a lot for all this very precious explanation you give to us. I wanted to pose you another question. Do you want to say something else to our viewers, watchers? Is there something that is important to you to say to us?
If there's something that is very important to me, to us, or to the viewers, is also to talk about the issue of the second vote. Because a lot of people, they don't understand the history of the second votation. So while I was researching some information online, I found very interesting videos that really explain why are we paying VAT and why do we need the BILAG. So we will also include the video in the program. So I think this is the video.
Will the Swiss continue to authorise the federal government to collect income tax and VAT? The voters will decide. All in all, we're talking about 2/3 of the federal government's income, about 44 billion Swiss francs collected each year. The Swiss constitution currently says that VAT and federal income tax can be collected until 2020. The idea is to extend the arrangement until 2035. In Parliament, there was no debate on the matter. The proposal was accepted unanimously. So why do we have to vote? Because it involves an amendment to the Constitution. And when that happens, the people always have to approve it. If the yes side wins, there's no change. Individuals and companies will go on paying taxes as before. The federal government will still receive this revenue, using it to fund its own work and redistributing some of it to the cantons. If a majority of the people or the cantons vote no, however, Swiss will stop paying taxes in 2021, and the government will have to reduce its spending drastically or find some other source of funding. Hasn't Switzerland been through this before? Yes, indeed. More than once, in fact. Basically, it was always just a provisional arrangement. The story goes back to 1915, when Europe was at war. At that time, there was no direct federal income tax. And there was no VAT either. Collecting taxes was the prerogative of the cantons. The federal government funded itself mainly with customs revenue. During the Great War, customs revenue dropped, and the budget for the Swiss army grew. The federal government was running out of money, so it got the people to vote on a war tax. During World War II, this provisional tax became the national defence tax. But it didn't cover all the costs incurred in wartime. So, a commercial sales tax was introduced, the ancestor of VAT, which is the tax we pay on purchases today. These were all extraordinary and provisional taxation measures to support the federal government in times of crisis. Only in 1958 did the government get the right to raise revenue this way in peacetime. It was enshrined in the Constitution, but it was always time limited. Since then, every 10 or 15 years, the people get to vote about it and restate their confidence in the nation's financing of government. How do you think people will vote on March the 4th?
Wow, Mark, this is definitely a very educative video. Thanks a lot, Swiss Info.
Yes, you see, this is also why this BLEG is very important. Look at this very informative, explanatory and educative video from Swiss Info. We need these kind of materials to educate the people, to inform them about information. If you scrap BLEG, I'm asking myself, where will immigrants start reading news? Most of the news we are reading online or from other sources, don't be surprised they are from great media like Swiss Info. Other medias are copying from them to feed us with this. It means all these things will wipe out. Then what are they feeding us with? Somebody will just wake up one day and tell us there is this. They start feeding us with fear. So this is, I also appreciate that. It's a very explanatory and educative video. Then, if there's another thing, is people really need to know, how does it work? You see this envelope you see right here with me. Everyone who is eligible to vote, they will receive this at home to make it easier for everyone. Then, it depends on the cantons you are. In Canton of Bern,
yes,
irrespective of who you are, as long as you are in Switzerland, everywhere all over the country, we have the two national ones, which is the federal income tax, to extend it, and the no BLEG. This is in all cantons of Switzerland.
You talked about it before, yes.
Then, depending on your cantons, you have the cantonal vote. So when you are receiving this paper, first thing you need to do, you need to open it like
the
this.
Envelope, yeah.
The envelope. When you open the envelope, inside you have a lot of papers. And these papers...
Yes, yes. Can you show it, please? I think it's very important to show to the audience.
The voting papers are like
this.
this.
that we find when we receive.
This is the national. And you can see they are not of the same color. This one you are seeing here is the cantonal.
Very good.
And here you can read what you want. Then you can vote if you want yes, if you want no. And it's the same for the second one here, if you want yes or you want no. Then when you finish to vote...
So you have to read, so just for repeat, you have to read.
You have all these papers where you can read the opinion of people who said yes and people who said no. Why is it important?
Okay,
you have
give general information to the people at home, so that they are aware about what they are actually voting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you finish to vote, you put it inside this envelope. You take the two of them. You put it in this included envelope. But something is also very important. There's a white paper inside.
Yes.
And in this white paper, you see in the front of the envelope, it contains your name. You just have to flip it behind. Then you will see that this is the address of where to send it. Most important,
yes.
You have to sign it.
Okay.
The signature is very important. If
Perfect.
you don't
Yeah,
sign it,
yeah.
it's not valid.
Yes. Yes.
So when you
It's not
sign it,
accepted. Yeah.
then you put it together in this, not inside this. This must be outside.
This must be outside.
Yeah, it must be outside, not inside, because then you put it back in the same envelope.
Okay.
And you turn it. You see, you don't have to, you turn it upside down.
Okay, so that
and you put it, and this will reflect in the front of the name.
Okay, show it to the camera.
You see,
so that
now,
people knows
as
what
I turn
has
it,
to be.
Now it shows
Perfect.
where it's going to. And another most important thing is that
yes,
everyone who is eligible to vote should take part in the decision making of voting. Because you see, there are a lot of people, they are migrants, they really want to vote, but they don't have the right. They have the heart of Swiss.
I know something about it.
So these are the things, I think, also, when you start to vote, there are immigrants who are also good in politics. They should start taking part in the political process. They are the one that will help the migrants to have a voting power, because they could change it. If the women could change their own rights, that the men could allow them to vote on the national level and cantonal level, because the cantonal level, the women started voting in the 60s, but just only in the cantonal and communal level. Not until 1971, all men voting rights said, okay, let's let the women start voting. Now women can vote. So I think...
Yes, I totally agree with what you are saying this moment, because as you said, there are many migrants here in Switzerland that really have that they know how to deal with politics, you know,
very well.
But they're not eligible to vote. So this is also the reason why we are discussing here today, because it's very important that people become aware of what they're actually voting.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot for all this precious explanation that you gave to us, because and remember to sign, because if you don't sign, the vote is not
valid.
This is very important.
This is really very important.
So thanks a lot for watching Diaspora TV Switzerland. Stay tuned, and I wish everybody a good evening.